AI is improving by leaps and bounds, and in the future it will replace us and make us live in the sewers. But I'm here to prevent that. I'm going to make life harder for them. I'm going to teach an AI to breathe. To do this, I'll have to create a breathing simulator that will be fully playable so you can also compete against the AI. And be better at something than the AI, because in a future we're going to be screwed and become slaves to its whims, and I want to stop thinking about it because it made me depressed. Step 1 is to make a character that will represent our AI. Since we have the upper hand against the AI, we are going to use that advantage to make the character the worst. An old, bald man with a very obvious foreign background, but I don't want to say where from to avoid being racist. I opened Photoshop, and since I'm terrible at drawing, I decided to do it in pixel art. For the head, I just painted a blob and it turned out pretty well. Then I drew a long neck like Candace. Finally, I drew its body in the buff. After some reflection, I thought I should give the eye a reason to be happy, so I decided to give it a nice bat. The bat was big, but at the same time too small to animate. I tried to make it move in a funny way, but I couldn't. I felt useless. It was over for me. Make it bigger. What? Who said that? Make it bigger. I didn't know who this hero was, but he gave me a great idea. I'll make it bigger. After hours and hours of animation, studying and analyzing bad videos in detail, which I can't show you or mention their origin, I managed to give that bat what it deserves. Subscribe if you want this bat in your ass. I also gave it a beachy background with some Morocco vibes. Now I had to make the lungs. I searched for reference of lungs. Don't search for lung reference. From what I saw, lungs are like two poorly drawn triangles, shiny, pink and veiny. Plus, in between them is the trachea, which looks like a little tree. It looks so good it makes you want to sell them. How much do lungs go for this day? To animate them, I had to make it look like they inflated and then deflated. I made several frames to animate each position, and here's what they turned out like. These new lungs are going for 50,000. The game didn't have music yet, and for the type game I wanted to make, it needed an absurd and repetitive song that gets stuck in your brain, like this episode of Regular Show. Now I had to make all of this playable, and the idea I came up with was spectacular. You're not going to believe it. You'll be blown away. It's a long horizontal bar, where a smaller bar has to pass between two slightly larger bars. Not to brag, but I'm a genius. I thought the gameplay should be about reflexes, and the more points you get, the faster the game would go. You've got this little pink bar, which moves to one side, and when it's in the blue zone, you have to click the left mouse button to make it move to the other side, and when it's in the blue zone, you click again to move it to the other side. And so on infinitely. With this, I had to make the lungs inflate and deflate depending on which way the bar moved. I thought of setting the lungs peak to 1 when the bar moves to the right, and -1 when the bar moves to the left, pairing the movement of the bar with the lungs. Now I needed to make the game addictive, and you do that with stimulus. I added a score counter at the top. The longer you play without dying, the more points you get. I'm also going to add a feature where when you click, particles pop up and the bar moves. Plus, if you fail, the whole screen shakes. Finally, when you click in the blue zone, you get 5 extra points, and if you click near the end, you get 10 points. As for dying, I decided that if the pink bar goes outside the pink bar, you lose. But if you click in the red zone, you have 3 lives. And why this stupid and nonsensical idea? Let me explain. When you breathe, you have limits. You can breathe up to a certain point, and at the same goes for exhaling. If you breathe beyond your limit, your lungs explode. If you breathe below your limit, you implode and create a black hole, and obviously you die. But if you breathe just under the limit, nothing happens. You recover and you're still alive. Ole! To finish, I wanted to add the giant animation because it looked pretty boring to just lose and nothing happens. I have no idea what happens to a giant bat when you die from a lung explosion, but I think this is the perfect representation. A wobbly butt. Wobbly butt. I found it funny. I'm calling him that. Finally, for real this time, I made a game over screen with your score and your highest score of all your games. And with this, the game is done! Now comes the hard part. I have to put the eye in my game. I've never done it before, so I'll need to prepare. Buy courses and books and study everything I can. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll watch a tutorial. After watching the video and following all the steps, it didn't work. The video is from 3 years ago and there have been 15 updates, but it's okay, I'll watch another video. Not working, but don't worry, there's another video that didn't work. After using YouTube's magical filter to select by date, I found a guy with a tutorial from a few months ago. I decided to try one last time, otherwise this video was going to the trash. I copied everything exactly as he said, and you won't believe what happened. It works, yeah! Shit! fucking. Apparently they call eyes learning agents. Damn, what a name. Eyes work with rewards and punishments. If you reward the eye when it does something right, it will understand what the correct path is. Good job, baby, keep going. If it screws up, you punish it, and it will try to avoid making the same mistake. I left it running for an hour to see if it could learn. After all this time, the eye didn't progress at all, so I looked online for a solution. According to some users, you need to make things easier for the eye at first, learning little by little and regarding it. So I made the limits smaller in the hopes it would be easy for the eye. I hit play and waited another hour, and what happened next was completely unexpected. The eye had learned how to play, but with its own rules. Instead of breathing like any normal mammal, it was controlling a low air zone to maximize points. Maybe the eye is smarter than us, which is why we need to kill it! Or change the rules! I recoded the game so it could only click when the pink bar was on the blue. Also, I made it so it only had one life in the red zone, just to make it harder. We cannot give them the same right as us! I left it running for another hour and finally it seems to be learning properly. Now I wanted to tighten the limits, and what everyone does with eye is making 30 levels of the same game, with the idea of feeding off the learning from all its runs. But I'm an idiot! When I made the game, if you die, the game reloads. What I should have done is reset all the variables to 0. It seems the same, but it's not. In the first case, the scene reloads and all the levels get loaded again, so the eye wouldn't be learning. When one of them dies, they all reload. Well, I'll do that with my next game. For now, I'm leaving the eye to learn how to breathe while I go out for some salads. Wink wink. Oh, what a night. Let's see how it went. The eye learned to breathe. My plan can finally begin. This is only the start. With this new eye, we can make thousands and millions of robots with the ability to breathe and steal all the oxygen in the world to sell it and become billionaire. I'll call it the Stealerinator. A platypus? Bury the platypus? No! And down after leaving this shit training, I can now present to you a breathing eye. Here it is. I challenge you to beat Wobbly Butt score. You can play it from the link in the description and the pinned comment. Post your scores and see who got the highest points. Enjoy!